There's simply nothing like Royal Caribbean's Oasis class ships. They are the standard in the cruise industry, and if you booked one of the 6 and soon to be 7 Oasis class ships, well, I've got everything you need to know about them up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. The Oasis class ships redefine what a cruise ship is all about. These are massive, giant cruise ships that have so much to do on board, and there's no doubt that you probably booked one because you saw it and said, holy moly, that looks amazing. These are the biggest cruise ships in the world, and they offer a ton of activities, entertainment, dining options, and more. You're also going to find expansive suites, lots of things that appeal to families, food that caters to all tastes, and more ways to have fun than any other ship that's come since, with the exception, of course, of Icon of the Seas. But that's for another video. The first thing you should know about the Oasis class ships is they're not all the same. With each ship, Royal Caribbean differentiated each one with different entertainment, restaurants, pooled activities, and more. Plus, with different updates over the years, they've also been further differentiated, which means if you've sailed on one, that doesn't mean you've sailed on them all. Currently, there are 6 Oasis-class cruise ships, with the 7th that'll come into service sometime in 2028. Oasis-class cruise ships are split into distinct neighborhoods on board, because if you look at the ship and you think, I don't know how I'm going to be able to figure out where anything is, it's actually a lot easier to navigate than you might assume. There are 7 neighborhoods on Oasis-class ships, with the exception of Wonder of the Seas and Utopia of the Seas, which have an 8th neighborhood. Think of each neighborhood as like a land in a theme park, in the sense they have a distinct theme and a look to them, so you clearly will know when you get to one, oh, this is the boardwalk, or oh, this is Central Park. The 8th neighborhood that Royal Caribbean added to Utopia and Wonder of the Seas is known as the Suite neighborhood. Now, all of the Oasis class ships have suite areas, but they really went above and beyond with the amount of space dedicated to the suite-only areas on Wonder and Utopia, so that's why they have the Suite neighborhood, which has its own pool bar and lounge areas and a really more open and dedicated sun deck. Now, there's no shortage of things to do on Oasis class ships. You're not going to be bored on these by any means. So here's a list of all the amazing things you can do on board. First of all, the Ultimate Abyss, which is a 10-story dry slide, not a water slide. And this slide, you go down on a racer mat and incorporates lights, sound effects. It's actually not as scary as it looks. Next up is the zip line, and all the ships have the zip line. It's located on the sports deck. It's an 82-foot long zip line. The ride lasts about 10 seconds, but it's a great first-time zip line experience. There's a rock climbing wall, which is a signature activity on every single Royal Caribbean ship. It's 43 feet tall, and it has different courses with different skill levels. There's ice skating on board. In the Studio B ice skating rink. Now, there's ice skating shows, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but there's actually open skate sessions. There's also a flow rider on the back of the ship where you can try to boogie board or even stand up surfing. There's a carousel in the boardwalk, which anybody can ride, not just for kids, open day and night. And there are water slides, which are really cool. Oasis class ships have 3 different slides, 2 of which are the racer slides. The other one is what a lot of people call the toilet bowl slide. Probably the official name is the champagne bowl slide. But you basically whirl around in a bowl several times before falling into the middle. You'll also find escape rooms on Oasis class ships, with the exception of Allure of the Seas. And these are basically a paid activity in which you and a group of other guests try to figure out a series of clues and puzzles to solve a greater puzzle and quote-unquote escape the room within less than an hour. Every Oasis class ship has an arcade on board, and they all have an extensive Adventure Ocean Kids Club. And this is a really important feature for families on board their ships, because Adventure Ocean is where you can drop your kids off and have a supervised activity for them while you, as the parents, get to enjoy time by yourselves. And of course, there's other activities, including a mini golf course, a sports court, pickleball, and even glow-in-the-dark laser tag. Next up are the pool areas, and Oasis class ships have multiple pools, not just one. There are 4 pools on the pool deck: the beach pool, sports pool, main pool, and the Splashaway Bay area, which is where the kids' aqua park is. In addition, there's also the adults-only solarium for guests who are 18 and older, and that offers its own pool and several hot tubs, with one exception. Harmony of the Seas doesn't have a pool in the solarium. It was kind of an idea Royal Caribbean had at the time, but it's only on Harmony. Don't ask. If you ask me, beyond the size of the ship, the thing that really differentiates Oasis class ships from every other cruise ship are the amazing entertainment venues on board. On Oasis class ships, there are different theaters, and the Aqua Theater is by far the most unique venue. The performances in here combine diving, slacklining, aerialists, synchronized swimmers, and more. Each Oasis class ship has its own show. There's Aqua 80 on Oasis of the Seas, Oceanaria on Allure, the Fine Line on Harmony, Hero on Symphony, Intense on Wonder, and Aqua 82 on Utopia of the Seas. And these are amazing must-see performances that will really take your breath away. In addition, there's also a Royal Theater. This is the more traditional indoor theater, and they're available on board all the Oasis class ships, and a lot of them actually have full Broadway shows. You can find Cats on Oasis of the Seas, Mamma Mia on Allure, Grease on Harmony, Hairspray on Symphony, and the other two ships, Wonder and Utopia, don't have full Broadway shows, but still interesting shows nonetheless. And the third theater is Studio B, which is the ice skating rink. Once again, original shows on every single ship for you to enjoy. And I know ice skating shows maybe not sound the most interesting, but trust me, they're a lot better than you think. I told you the entertainment's probably the biggest thing that really makes the Oasis class ship stand out, but the dining is a close second because you're going to find a ton of restaurants on board. Some of them are included in your cruise fare, while others do cost extra. You can see right here in this video a list of the complimentary restaurants, and these are the restaurants that are included in your cruise fare. While there might be some items that cost extra, generally speaking, go here and get what I'd call free food, such as the main dining room, Sorrento's Pizza, Coastal Kitchen, Cafe Promenade, etc. Different hours for obviously all of these venues, but you can go on an Oasis class ship, not spend a dime on any other food, and totally be satisfied and full for your entire cruise. But in addition, there are specialty restaurants. These are restaurants where you pay a covered charge or you pay a la carte to go there. And these are optional for you. It's basically a way to have different cuisines or cooking styles, and it's totally your choice if you want to dine there. You can make reservations in advance or simply show up. It all kind of depends. As an example, there's Johnny Rockets, which is, just burgers and hot dogs and chili and milkshakes. It's a fun activity for families and a satisfying meal. You've also got on the other end Chops Grill, which is a steakhouse in which you pay a cover charge and get basically your entire meal for part of that cover charge. My advice, if you're doing a 7-night cruise on an Oasis class ship, is to work in one or two specialty restaurants, especially if you're a brand new cruiser. But I know what you're wondering, what are the differences between each of the Oasis class ships? So we're going to list basically the biggest differences between them all. Oasis of the Seas, which is the first Oasis class ship, was upgraded in 2019. And because of that, she received a number of enhancements. First of all, the pool deck has more of a Caribbean-style pool deck feel that's going to be more similar to some of the newer Oasis-class ships. This includes the addition of the lime and coconut bar, which is a really cool spot to hang out at. Try the lime and coconut cocktail. It's actually really good. Some other new venues on Oasis include Portside Barbecue, which is the only ship that has this restaurant. It's a la carte. It costs extra, but I'm telling you, it's really tasty. It has Playmaker Sports Bar and Arcade over on the boardwalk area, and I love Playmakers. It's a great place to watch the game, and the campfire cookie is a must-eat dessert. And then you also have Sugar Beach Candy Store, which is added there as well. And one more feature is the dedicated karaoke bar on the Royal Promenade. So if you're a big karaoke fan, this is the place for you. In 2025, Allure of the Seas will be getting some much-needed upgrades as well that'll match a lot of what you see on either Utopia or Oasis of the Seas. First and foremost, they're adding the Ultimate Abyss slide. They're adding water slides to the ship, Splashaway Bay. But some of the cool features coming are this pesky Parrot Bar, which is a twist on the traditional tiki bar with Caribbean vibes. And there's a lot of fruit-based cocktails alongside frozen drinks as well. It's a really cool area on the Royal Promenade. Some other new restaurants coming to Allure, including, of course, Playmakers, the Mason Jar Bar, which is a Southern American food restaurant, and the addition of El Loco Fresh, which is one of my favorite grab-and-go complimentary places. I love the Fixins Bar here. It is so good. Also at Allure, they'll be adding an escape room, which we talked about, along with, of course, the glow-in-the-dark laser tag. Harmony of the Seas, which is the third Oasis class ship, has some couple features that really stand out. First of all, it has an original Royal Caribbean production called Columbus the Musical, which is a whimsical, fun show about the made-up cousin of Christopher Columbus called Marvin Columbus, and it's kind of a fun show that I actually really like seeing quite a bit. Harmony is also one of the last Royal Caribbean cruise ships to have Sabor Modern Mexican, which is located on the boardwalk, and I think it's actually not a bad place. Some of the best margaritas you're going to find are at Sabor. Over on Symphony of the Seas, you'll find some new concepts that were added for Symphony, including Hooked Seafood, which is a specialty restaurant specializing in New England-style seafood. And just like Oasis, Symphony also has Playmakers on the boardwalk, as well as having a really impressive show in its Royal Theater called Flight Dare to Dream. It's a really cool show, and I think it's one of Royal Caribbean's best original productions. With Wonder of the Seas, there's a lot more differences as well, starting with, of course, the addition of that sweet neighborhood I talked about a little bit earlier. The sweet neighborhood was added to Wonder of the Seas so that basically the ship could offer a little bit more for sweet guests. And the biggest difference is how much you'll find in Deck 17 and Deck 18 that are dedicated to sweet guests. There's a dedicated sun deck that actually has sun and shade areas, a great plunge pool, jacuzzi, a bar. I like that quite a bit. And of course, you're also going to find Coastal Kitchen, which is the suite's only restaurant nearby, and the Suite Lounge. Wonder of the Seas also has The View, which is a cantilevered bar located in the upper pool deck and offers panoramic views of the ocean. It's really pretty. Also, Wonder has Cantina Fresca, which is located next to El Loco Fresh, and essentially, it's Mexican-inspired cocktails, margaritas, and agua frescas. Something else interesting about Wonder and Utopia, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is the fact that it only has one flow rider, and that's because they added a playscape for kids on board. The playscape is kind of like, and I don't think Royal Caribbean wants me to say it this way, but it's the best description I got, which is kind of like one of those playgrounds you find at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, where your kids can run around and climb and crawl and what have you. It's really meant for children that are younger. And the cool thing is, while it doesn't have a ball pit, is it does have an opportunity for young children to get all that energy out, and it's also really pretty. Wonder also has a revamped pool deck, which matches the one that you'll find on Oasis of the Seas, which is that Caribbean vibe to it. And finally, that leads us to Utopia of the Seas. So Utopia of the Seas has an expanded park cafe, a multi-story lime and coconut bar, a redesigned Vitality Spa, and a 2-story Giovanni's that's at a completely different location. But I gotta talk about one of the most amazing new restaurants on board, which is the Royal Railway. The Royal Railway is a themed train restaurant. But if you're thinking, okay, that's it, trust me, it's amazing. You go in here and there are virtual windows. The cars vibrate as if you're on a train. There's actually a platform with steam. It's amazing. There's a little show involved. I really like it. And the food is pretty good too, I gotta say. In addition, there's the pesky parrot on the Royal Promenade. We talked about that with what's coming to Allure of the Seas. But Izumi is truly amazing. They moved Izumi to Central Park, which is the Japanese restaurant that you'll find on all Oasis class ships. But on Utopia, it's massive. There's a sushi area, a hibachi area, and in the middle, a new omakase, which essentially is a multi-course, chef-driven experience. It's really more of an intimate dining experience. Something else new on Utopia is the Spare Tire, which is a grab-and-go place right on the pool deck, meant to basically allow it easier to get a snack while you're at the pool. So who are the Oasis class ships best for? Who should book one of these? Because maybe you're watching this video because you already booked one, or you're thinking about booking one, or you haven't booked anything yet, but you're saying, Matt, I would need to know who should really book this cruise and which ship should I choose? Truly, the Oasis class is best for anybody who views a cruise ship as a destination, which I think is a lot of people, and it really has something for everybody out there, which I know is kind of a lame answer, but I'm telling you this. There are other ships where I would say, maybe you should be more of this than that kind of a person, but I'm telling you, the Oasis class really does offer a ton, and there's little chance of ever getting bored. So first and foremost, if you're someone who's never cruised before, or you're somebody who's never cruised with the Royal Caribbean before, I think the Oasis class is a great starter ship. The Oasis class is really popular for families because the ships can cater to guests of all ages. Kids will find an abundance of activities on board, from water slides to rock climbing and the zip line, and of course, the kids club. Teens will love the large hangout spaces and areas dedicated just for them to meet new friends on board. By far, if you have kids of any age, you want to go on an Oasis class ship. If you're doing a multi-gen cruise in which you're bringing grandparents, parents, and kids, Oasis class ship. If you're a couple that's looking for a fun time on board, the Oasis class. Truly, the only people that shouldn't book an Oasis class ship is anybody who's looking for a cruise that takes them to a more exotic locale, because the Oasis class ships are so big, they can't fit into a lot of different ports around the world. The itineraries don't really change that much. Western, Eastern Caribbean, 7-night sailings, and Utopia and Wonder of the Seas offering just 3- and 4-night cruises to the Bahamas. So if your goal is to go see the Norwegian fjords, visit Alaska, or go to Australia, unfortunately, the Oasis class will not be in the cards for you. And to round this video out, I've got 4 little tips about the Oasis class ships to share with you, little secrets, nuggets of information. Number 1, there's no Deck 13 on Oasis class ships. So when you're calculating how many stairs you got to climb, keep in mind you go from Deck 12 to Deck 14, and that's because somebody at Royal Caribbean was being a little superstitious. Allure of the Seas and Oasis of the Seas have art displays on board called Small Wonders. They're hidden throughout the ship. These are basically like periscopes or telescopes that point into the ground, where you'll find tiny 3D pieces of art that you can look at. They're located, again, around the ship. They're only on Allure or Oasis. It's really fun CD activity. Try to find them all if you can. Go to guest services, they can give you a list. Also, Wonder of the Seas has astronauts scattered around the ship. I believe there's 5 of them. You got to find all 5 of them during your sailing. And lastly, my favorite spot for sail away or an awesome sunset is to look for the Solarium bridge wings. Now, they're not available on every ship, like Utopia doesn't have them because there's a suite there instead, but on most of the Oasis class ships, there's a Solarium bridge wing, which is right off the Solarium to go to. It's really a neat spot. All right, there you have it. Everything you need to know about the Oasis class ships. Obviously, we have videos about each Oasis class ship with full video tours for you to check out. So if you're interested in one particular, we've got full videos here. Check those out. Let me know in the comments which Oasis class ships have you been on, which are you gonna go on, and which ones are you thinking about booking. While you're down below our video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know of a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RailCaribbeanBlog.com. We'll talk again real soon.